Hello, my name's Giord and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to give my brutally honest review on the F1 Manager 2022. Okay, let's just get it out of our system, right? Let's give me a score, and then I'll start with some things that I do like, and then we'll move on. So, my score. What is this game out of 10? For me, it's a 6 out of 10. I think a 6 out of 10 is fair. It's far not a 10 out of 10 game, not a 9 out of 10, nor 8. And I think 7, probably too generous to give it a 7. I think it's a 6 out of 10 game, and I think the main reason it's a 6 out of 10 game is the graphics. Because, yes, the game looks beautiful, I must admit. For a management game, I think graphical-wise, it's the best I think we could possibly ask for. And is the game fun? That's another part of this 6 out of 10. Is it fun? Have I had fun playing it? The answer is yes. Obviously, every time you get a good result, it's fun. You like it. And it does have that element. But why a 6 out of 10? Why not a 7 out of 10? Why not an 8 out of 10? I just don't think there's enough to it. I just think it's too simple. I think, the fact that people are winning with teams like Williams and so forth and Haas, and by the end of the first season, and even with me, Alfa Romeo, I know that's a middle team, but we're fighting for more podiums. We've had 3 podium finishes in the first 13 races, which, not as realistic really when Ferrari and Red Bull should be dominating. Really, we should be fighting for 6th and 7th, but we're somehow getting podiums. And I just, it's a bit too easy for me. It's just a little bit too simple. And for me, I'm like, I really wanted that challenge. And if you don't have that challenge in the management game of starting at the bottom, and I know people have gone for Williams, and I salute you, and you have got that challenge. But the fact that I've seen people by the end of season 1 by finding little loopholes in development sliders and so forth that weren't properly sorted, so it was easy to just get a brand new part and jump through the field. It shouldn't be happening. So the fact that there's so little challenge in the game, I think, for me, gives it that 6 out of 10. But honestly, the graphics, is it fun? Yes, they meet that basic need for a game. So I think 6 out of 10 is fine. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through areas I think why I've given it 6 out of 10. The main thing for me is the fact that when you get fired, it is game over. That does not happen in a management sim, in my opinion. I feel like if you get fired, you should be able to sit in that save, click the continue button until someone comes along and offers you a job. And don't tell me that this doesn't happen in F1, because you've got people like Eric Boulier, Otmar Safnauer, for example, who moved from Alpine to Aston Martin. It can happen. People can move from one place to another team in Formula 1 and change roles, right? So it can happen. And for the sake of the game, I really think it should happen, simply because it allows you to carry on, and it also allows you to carry on in that save, and you can kind of prove them wrong, right? If I get sacked from Alfa Romeo and then I go to Williams and I start doing a better job at Williams, I'm like, ha, you shouldn't have sacked me, right? It just allows you to keep the narrative going. Whereas in the game at the moment, if you get fired, game over. It shouldn't be like that. Plus I should have the option to resign. I don't understand why I can't resign from a team. If I want to resign, I should be able to resign. So let's say, and you'll be thinking, but why would you want to resign? I'll tell you why you want to resign. You've completed the game, right? You've taken Williams, you 1 and 2, you're winning all the races, you've won all the races, whatever team you're managing, but you want to see how they do without you. Now that they've gone, you want to see who they sign. Do they keep the drivers? Do they move them on? And so forth. You want to go, and you might say, the Aston Martin job's available because they should be sacked. And you should be able to apply for jobs. You apply for the Aston Martin job because they're the lowest team, and you take them up, and you see how Williams do now that you're not there. It's kind of just keeps the game going. Whereas I just have to do this one save, and when I get bored of it or when I get fired, I can't continue. I have to start again. And then why would I start again? Why would I play 10 seasons of a save and then start again? I don't know if I would. Some people would, and some people might say, of course you would start again. But some people like that journeyman, that continuing one save throughout pretty much most of their, time with the game. And you can't do that. So it was a massive opportunity missed, in my opinion. I really think if you get fired, you should be able to carry on. And if you should be able to apply for teams. I can't believe that was just not considered for this management game whatsoever. So next up, for me, driver development points. Absolute pointless. Like the most silliest system, I think, for getting your drivers better. Not management game at all. Too arcade and needs to go for the next game. And let me tell you why. There's no way. Let's say I'm Lewis Hamilton. He's 90 overrated. He's 90 rated. So he shouldn't become 95 rated with me in charge while he's, getting older. He's peaked. I don't care what your views are on Lewis Hamilton. He is at the best of his level. He's only going to dip from here. Even in real life, he might be able to sustain his period of driving for a lot longer, but he's only going to regress. And that should be mimicked in the game. That he should regress. There's no way I should be adding points to Lewis Hamilton. Yes, you could say, well, his development points, they come up. But, I probably, if I'm with him for 5, I could still make him a better driver. It shouldn't happen at his age. Really, at his age, it should be, he should start at 90, and maybe, I'm not saying he needs to regress to like a 70. He just regresses. He could be like an 87 by the time he retires, or even an 85. Right, the drivers, as they get older, should regress, right? And that doesn't happen with the development point system, because you're always, adding points on and making them better. It just doesn't work. For me, don't like it. Needs to go. It needs to be like Football Manager. They have an ability level. You are in charge of training, the facilities, what they do, anything they can try and get better at. So you try and keep them in top shape as possible, so they can develop, and so maybe they don't regress when they get as old, maybe. But that's not in there. And the fact that, it's just an arcade, point, click, improve this, improve that, it shouldn't be like that at all. They should, through your training, for your management, from what you do in between races to help improve the drivers, that should then help improve. My facilities increases should help improve, driver fitness or reactions. There should be something in the game which is just focus heavily on driver training, which improves the drivers and allows them to improve. Whether they improve or not, that's down to the driver and down to the age and down to whether or not they've maxed out. Let's say, like at current ability. So in Football Manager, it's current ability and potential ability. So let's say Lewis Hamilton has a current ability of 193 out of 200, but his potential ability is 193. He will not improve. Doesn't matter how hard you train him, he won't improve. He might stay there for a bit, but then as he gets older, that current ability slightly comes down, and that is transformed in his rating. His rating comes down. He's regressing. And whether you want to stick with him or find someone else who's going to progress and, say goodbye to Hamilton. I think that's how a management game should be. There's no management involved in just selecting what to improve. And I've probably spent way too long talking about this, but it really bugs me that is the development way that they went with the drivers. And the second thing I'm going to say about the drivers is I don't understand why I can't sign a driver for next season. Why is it immediate? Why can I sign a driver for next season? Bang, straight away if I wanted to. Like, I know I got rid of my save Bottas and it cost me 16 million. Okay, fine, but I shouldn't be able to, get rid of drivers. Well, you can. It does happen in Formula 1, and you were going to say, oh, it does, but it doesn't really happen until it gets to Spa. So I don't know if there's a reason why Spa normally is the time they swap drivers. I know Verstappen was a bit earlier as well in Barcelona. It does happen, okay. But it doesn't happen regularly, and I feel like there should be a bit of a penalty, and I suppose that's another thing with the game is money is probably a bit too easy to come by. There should be a bit more of a penalty for breaking contracts early and allowing to sign drivers for the next season. Maybe at the end of the season there's it's okay. Like the break's not as bad as it would be during the season. I don't know. I just feel like it's a bit wishy-washy that I can't sign a driver for next season. I just, if I could sign a driver after Barcelona if I wanted to, and boom, he's in the car. Doesn't matter about the other guy. Doesn't matter that he's got a 4-year contract. It feels weird to me. Maybe not to you, but to me it feels weird. I suppose the next thing to talk about gameplay. I suppose we've got to be a bit quick on this. I want to talk about the lockups, because it infuriates me just as much as the development points. When they lock up, why are they stopping? Why? Why are they stopping on a asphalt piece of track? Does a Formula 1 driver stop when they lock up? No, very rarely. They sort of lock up, get the car back under control, and they get going again. Why are they stopping on track and losing an absurd amount of time? That needs to change. I don't know why they do that. Also, traffic. Like, traffic in qualifying, it's just mad. Like, the first run's pretty much pointless unless you go out first. You're going to get held up, and then you're looking at the bottom 5, and you're like, oh, I've got Hamilton, Sainz, like 6-7 seconds. Obviously, they were held up, or 3 seconds back. But you know they're not 3 seconds back. Obviously, it sorts itself out on the final run because no one's holding each other up really on the final run. But just really frustrating that the AI, the locking up, stopping on track for no apparent reason, and just so much traffic in qualifying. Right, I think that's enough bashing of the game, to be honest with you, in terms of why I feel it's a 6 out of 10 and why it's not like a 10 out of 10, in my honest opinion. I just think this game hyped up so much. They drew us in with the graphics like a nice piece of candy. It had us, we were dripping, we were waiting, couldn't wait to see what it was like. But the gameplay is the most important thing in a game, and that experience, and I just don't think it's there yet for a top quality management sim. Would I say this cuts close to Football Manager, which is by right the best management sim possibly? No, I don't think it comes close to a game like Football Manager. I think Football Manager beats it quite comfortably. Football Manager might be a bit worried about the graphics that F1 Manager has brought, but they'll look at the gameplay and go, actually, they still got a lot of work to do. But this game has so much potential, and I'm really hoping that Frontier listen to what the community have said, and they're doing that, releasing these patches and so forth. And I know there's a lot I haven't said about the game. Tyres is another one that it didn't really matter what compound you were on and so forth, nor tyre wear. Like, there's just so much part of the gameplay that I could make an hour video on it, but it's not fair on Frontier to do that. It's fair to point out the good points. The graphics, it is fun, right? So the base of a good game is there, but that's the base. And for me, they need to take that next step and really immerse us, and don't make it arcadey, make it a proper sim. Make those drivers progress in a normal fashion, and don't let us decide. Make us train them, because we're not training them at all effectively. I know you've got the simulator in there, but we're not training them at all. I just think it could have been so much better, but fingers crossed. As I said, it's fun. I do enjoy playing the game, and hopefully for FM23, F1 Manager 23, it will be a much better game. Thank you so much for watching. No, if you've really enjoyed what I've said, and if you've agreed with what I've said, I'd like to know your opinions. And also, if you've disagreed, you think this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, talking a load of rubbish, I've wasted 12 minutes of my entire life watching you, then tell me. I'd love to know. I will respond to everything, whether you agree, disagree with me. I'd love to know your comments, and see your comments in chat. I'm talking too much Twitch crossover. I'm talking about Twitch crossover. You can follow me on Twitch. We got the Freeze currently and Van Dorn in Alfa Romeo, making it a bit more challenging so we don't start winning in the first season, although we have got some podiums with the Freeze and Van Dorn as we've progressed through the season. But make sure you hit me on there, and make sure you hit like and subscribe. I've been Goofy Giord. Thank you so much for listening to my review, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.